I felt that it was very important for me to call a press conference to try to set the record straight on some issues on the fire consolidation that's being pushed or worked with, deconsolidation, I mean, with Washoe County. They've decided to move ahead with deconsolidation. And I'm having a hard time understanding how, when you save $40 to $45 million, what's not working? Why can't you sit down and try to negotiate what we need to do to make things work? We've asked for several meetings. Just 2 weeks ago, I wrote a letter asking for a meeting with the Joint Council and with their commissioners. Now they've agreed to get together and talk about a meeting in February when the managers and the mayor and the chairman of the commission get together. That puts it off another 2 months. I think that just leaves us 3 or 4 months, or more than 3, but 4 or 5 months to finish up. So I want to make it very clear. The citizens of Reno are very well protected. We're not giving back money to Truckee Meadows. We're very well protected. Washoe County is asking the city of Reno to take over troubled areas they cannot cover by their own study, the Diamante study. They cannot cover Hidden Valley. They cannot cover Collin Ranch. They cannot cover parts of Windy Hill. Now, we've got copies of those studies. You can look at them. I'm surprised that some of you haven't looked at them to find out what they are, the facts. If we're wrong, slap us and tell us if we're wrong. But we're not wrong. Hidden Valley, the first responder to Hidden Valley would be out of Sun Valley under their system. And we have a station there close. But they can't cover the areas like that. And no matter what they say, they talk about what's going on out at Boomtown. We can have, because when we unorganize this thing, we can have coverage at Boomtown in 7 minutes. Boomtown is completely sprinkled. Cabela's is completely sprinkled. So we can be there in plenty of time to do it. In the North Valleys, where they want to talk about coverage, we can open that station up when we get through with this deconsolidation. But that's not the way to go about doing it, the way the reports have been. Their own studies tell them that they can't stand alone without doing things. Why the citizens of Reno in the incorporated area should have to subsidize Hidden Valley, Collin Ranch. One of their top officials made a statement to our city manager and our fire chief. Collin Ranch is nothing but rocks and gravel, grass, rocks and grass. Now that they found out that Collin Ranch unincorporated area starts at the tennis courts, oh, we never said that. But they did say it, because they said it to 2 people that I trust and have a lot of faith in. What I see, and I think my council, we see that they're putting people in the unincorporated area at risk. They cannot roll 2 trucks to get anywhere into their coverage. So why they want this divorce, I'm having a hard time figuring out after we saved over $40 or $45 million. Washoe County did not want us to brown out any of their stations. So we didn't brown out their stations. We had to backfill with some of our people to keep their stations open when we were doing things, when the economics. But they still got part of the savings for when we browned out the stations because the cost went down. This is no more than just a pure power struggle between the county. They've talked about having people get together and working on this, but we've tried to have meetings. They have postponed it. It's been in the RGJ that they don't want to meet. So they're fixing to put the people in a bad spot, and I don't understand why citizens of Reno should have to subsidize the unincorporated area without them working with us. There were no funds, as one gentleman from out at Arrow Creek said, that we had diverted funds to put into the homeless shelter or into roadways or to other projects. That's as false as it can be. We've never diverted funds from our fire or anywhere to put into the homeless or put into the roads or any other projects. They say they can't afford the interlocal agreement, but yet they said it was going to cost them $750,000 to set up this new fire station. But they're already up to $1.2 million, so what's it going to cost? It's really, it doesn't make sense when you save the money and come out and do it. We, the citizens of Reno, have the fire protection. It's the unincorporated we have. It's a power struggle. If they want to sit down and talk about things, one commissioner came to me and said, I want to have somebody at the bargaining table. I never heard another word from him for 2 years until the divorce was announced. So why are we doing this? Why can't I get the commission to sit down and talk about it? Now, I want to say one thing. I do have a meeting with one of the commissioners this week. But why don't we get together so we don't sit and do these things? They made a bad deal when they took on Sierra Fire. They should have gotten more benefits from the state or whoever they took it over from. But busting up something that saves $40 million to save Sierra Fire, whereas if we sit at the table, we can negotiate and we could bring Sierra Fire in. They talk about regionalization. You already got the two biggest entities regionalized. So now let's reach out and bring Sierra in or work on it. There's several things we could do. Or is this something they want to try to bust the union on? They don't like, it's not four-man crews. OSHA tells you you can't go in a building unless you have 4 people, 2 in and 2 out. So in the unincorporated, are they going to show up with a 3-man crew and have to wait for another truck to get there? Do you know how fast a kitchen fire will spread in 3 or 4 minutes before you have a backup? You lose your whole house. So the city of Reno is willing to work with Hidden Valley. We want to meet with the homeowners. We plan to meet with the homeowners in Collin Ranch. And we hope to solve this all by sitting down with the county commissioners. But I wrote a letter asking for a meeting. Yesterday's action, they don't want a meeting now. I think it's till February. So we're running out of time, folks, because on the 1st, there'll be a divorce. And then the people in the unincorporated area will be put at risk. Mutual aid is not the problem. What is that, auto aid? That's not the problem. There's no problem with that. But primary aid is a problem. Primary. Us taking the responsibility for Hidden Valley, Collin Ranch, Windy Hill, and even up Mount Rose Highway. They're uncovered. Boomtown, we can cover it. We can cover the stations in the North Valley. We're going to give you, I think, did y'all pass out a copy of the study they just did that shows they can't do it? Read on the paper, read on the screen right now. That's what their study said. That's exactly what their study said. So I want the citizens of Reno to know And I want the people to know we've not diverted funds from fire or anything else for homeless, for roads, or anything else people want. They just did a disservice to the people in Washoe Valley because they had a fire station up Mount Rose. They could have cut a road over the top and been into Arrow Creek and cut the response times by 90%, 95%. But instead, they decided to build a fire station to cover Arrow Creek, and they pull the people that are going to run it out of Washoe Valley and leave them with a two-man crew. So I hope that Washoe County will slow down. Let's have a joint meeting. Let's negotiate the contract we have right now and work out the problems we have right now, whatever it is. If they want an oversight committee, because check the JPA records. See how many times they didn't come to the meetings. I'm not a member of that committee, but see how many times they didn't show up for meetings. But if they want an oversight committee, we can talk about that. We can work something out. We can work out something. If they wanted somebody on the negotiating committee, they could have made a request of my city manager. And he'd have probably put a person on there. But as an elected official, they as elected official cannot serve on the negotiating committee. You cannot do that. But we could have put one of their staff members, we could have done anything. So anyway, I'm hoping that Washoe County will put the brakes on, sit down and try to renegotiate this contract, extend the contract for a couple of years while we talk about regionalization and doing what it is. Because Washoe County and Reno are together right now. But why would we want to go regionalize with somebody that's going to cut down the coverage, cut down the response times, and put people at jeopardy? I'm not interested, and I don't think my council does. So I'm going to close it now. I want the citizens of Reno to know they are very well protected. We can have 2 crews there in 7 to 10 minutes, sometimes faster. We can open up the stations because we won't be subsidizing the county. So with that, I'll answer any questions you have, or I'll call on the chief to help me and back me up.
This is kind of one of those things you think you're trying to fix something that's not broken.
Yes, sir. I think that they have gone out on a limb where they are. How in the world can they cover Hidden Valley? I'm just going to use Hidden Valley. The closest station they got is Sun Valley. Now, we have 1, 2, 3 blocks away. We're human. We're going to try to help. But they want us to be the primary care taker there. And we can't do it. We can't afford to cover it. They get 25 to 30% of their taxes in these areas that I've talked about, and they can't give them fire protection. Well, then pay us, and then maybe we can give better protection. Maybe we can go in and expand the stations, build other stations, do different things. But there are no free rides. And we're not asking. We don't need them. I want it very clear. We don't need Washoe County or Sierra Air. I used to own a company called Sierra Air. Sierra Fire. We don't need them. We can cover our stations. We can cover our territory. They'll tell you in the study we can't cover the North Valley. That's wrong. There's statements, there's studies. I can't believe they hire studies and they don't listen to their study. They've done 2 studies, did one just last Friday, got it. Tells them you can't do it. They can't respond. They'll show up at your house, it's on fire, you got a little kitchen fire with 3 people. And they got to sit around and wait until the other truck gets there, 3 or 4 or 5 minutes later. Under their system, they'll have to wait an hour and a half to get a truck there, unless we step in and back them. But here we go in with 4-man crews, and we don't know how some of these people are trained. We know the ones. They told our employees in the contract, it tells the employees that they have to give them notice and they're going to have to take them back. So they're going to take them back into Sierra if they want to at the same pay. They might not have the same title, but they have to go back at the same pay. And probably 90% of the time, they got to have a fourth person bringing a water tender with them. So I just felt very passionate that I want to get the facts out. I'm tired of all the innuendos. If we're wrong, take these studies, look at them. If we're wrong, slap me. I don't care. Slap me. But I don't think my staff put me out on this plank because I don't hear a saw behind me. Yes, ma'am.
Do you think you've done everything in your power to keep the agreement going?
To the best of my knowledge, we have. I begged them for meetings. 2 weeks ago, sent them a letter. We'll bring it up at the council. They just had a meeting yesterday. Now they postponed it until February. Is that right, staff? Till February? They want to have a meeting in February when the county manager and the city manager get together with the mayor and the mayor of Sparks and the chairman of the county commission. No. My council needs to sit across the table from their commission and talk about the issues. What are the issues? Why do you want to break up? Why do you want to take a savings of 40 to 45, and don't hold me to the right number, but it's around 40 or $45 million that we've saved. What is wrong with that? Because somebody wants to be appointed to a board, or somebody wants to bust up the union, or somebody wants to, no. To have power? We're willing to say, maybe put a governing board together. Maybe there's ways to do it. But let's sit and talk about it. They haven't wanted to talk. Reported in RGJ, they didn't want to talk. So I don't know what else to do. I hope this little thing today, maybe they'll want to respond. But there's been so many inaccurate facts in the newspaper of what is going on that I felt I needed to visit with y'all.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
You talked about begging the county for a meeting. It sounds like you're accusing them of kind of putting some inaccurate information out there. Yeah, how would you characterize relations between the city of Reno and Washoe County today? And is it just this one issue that there seems to be a breakdown in communication?
No, we have another problem with animal control. They want to take money out of animal control and use it to balance their budget. Hey, these are the same people. These are the same people that had a problem at Incline Village that's going to cost the taxpayers $40 million. These are the same people that had a problem with Ballardini Ranch that's costing $30 million. So I want to sit down and work with them so we don't spend and waste more money.
Is there animosity there between the city and the county at this point? Or?
Well, you know, I don't have any. I don't think my council has any. My council asks tough questions, but why shouldn't they ask tough questions? That's what we're here for. That's what I'm elected to do. I get to be at the meter. I round the other 6 up like cats and let them go. Then I try to work with them and make it happen. And we work great together. I've got one of the best, not one, I have the best city council this city's ever had, bar none. And we're willing to work with the county. But it's power. Oh, we want to have this. No. Safety of public is not a power struggle. And we shouldn't be doing it that way. Busting up the union is not a power struggle. 3-man or 4-man crews, no, that's not the deal. I don't know what the answer is. I do know that they've lost over $1 million a year more. My understanding that they've lost over $1 million a year with Sierra Fire. Well, let's talk about it. For a while, they wouldn't raise the taxes. Then they raised taxes. So probably after this press conference, there'll probably be a little animosity on the other side. I'm not sure if I want to drive down the street, but that's okay. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, in your mind, what's the best possible outcome at this point?
Best possible outcome is for them to come over here or us go over there. I'll even go to their table and sit down with them and talk about what are the problems. What do we need to work on? What do we need to change? 4-man crews, our bargaining group is there. OSHA said about 4-man crews. They've given us the flexibility to work with. They've saved us $2.5 million this year and next year, I think, with what they've given up. So really what I think the best thing, call off this divorce, ask for an extension for 3 years, if we can modify the present day contract, because there's some inequities in there. Why should they be rewarded when we brown out stations? Or we have to brown out a station because we called in backup to keep one of their stations open. They should not be. Citizens of Reno are covered, well covered. Did a great job with the fire tragedy we had recently. With a 70-mile-an-hour wind, I could have had somebody sitting there. I could have had a 4-man crew thrown a match down and said, stop it. They would have had to chase it just like they did this time. In Washoe County, the Sierra Fire, everybody worked together. They came from Oakland, they came from Elko, they came from Fallon, they came from Carson City, everybody. It really amazed me how competent, how professional our firefighters are, and how organized they are, and how well trained to take on a deal like they just had.
You guys want to do individual interviews afterwards?
Any other questions? Thank y'all very much. I appreciate your time, and thanks for being here.